So, I got a box, and I know what's in this box. Some of you may know what's in this box, but many of you don't. So I'm really excited actually. This particular box contains the new line of equipment I'll be using over the next 1, 2, 5, maybe even 10 years of time. This is basically going to replace, and already has replaced, my Canon equipment. So if you don't already know, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, I have recently sold all of my Canon equipment. So I had a Canon 6D Mark II, the 16-35, 24-70, 70-2.8, 100mm macro, all 2.8L lenses throughout the entire range. They've all gone. Sold the entire lot. It's a big step for me. I've been shooting Canon for a long time, probably say about 18 years or so. And I've started to look into a different system, and this hopefully is the way things are going for me. Basically, it's an unboxing, a little bit of a first impressions, and see how we go. Now, most YouTubers have like huge knives and everything. It's just a scissors for me. So this is the first time me opening this, so it's a real life unboxing. Alright, any guesses to what it could be? Nikon? Olympus? Pentax? Sony? So, this, make sure I've got the right one, this is my new Sony a7R III. This is a mirrorless camera to replace my DSLR. So not only have I gone from Canon, I've gone to Canon to Sony and DSLR to mirrorless. This is quite a huge step for me. Let's open it up and see what we got. Alright, so we got instructions, accessories, more instructions in Hindi. I don't read Hindi. Japanese, I also don't read Japanese. English, that one I can do. Let's put those to one side. UK plug. We've got a nice little, very nice actually, kind of a really nice little strap here, A7 strap. Open up this side, we've got the Sony charger. Now I'll come back to that. I'll tell you another reason why I went for this particular camera. This is it. Oh, already I can feel the weight, and the size is so much smaller than my Canon. Wow, try not to put my fingerprints all over the screen. Oh, it's so much nicer. Sorry, Canon, but it actually feels nice. It's kind of cold to the touch. It feels like it's got a real premium kind of metal finish to it. And you know, there's been a lot of reviews on this, and I've watched pretty much every single review on YouTube about Sony and Canon and moving across from DSLR to mirrorless and whether people should do it, the pros and the cons. And almost everyone I've seen has actually commented about the grip. The fact that the Sony a7R III and the a7R II and the a7 III and the a9 have all got kind of this bit where your pinky finger falls off the end here. I quite like it, to be honest. I don't have small hands, but I don't have massive hands. They're just normal size. But I like it. The reason why I like it is that I tend to use this pinky finger, the knuckle of that, as almost a rest. So it gives a little bit more stability instead of all gripping it around here, which, you know, if your whole hand is kind of shaking, the whole thing is there. But putting your finger underneath, you can actually almost grip it like. So I like it. Now this one's got an electronic viewfinder, another thing that I wanted to see in my next camera. It does 4K Another thing I wanted to see is 1080p at 120 frames per second, so I can get some really nice, smooth, slow motion video footage for YouTube. It's a nice screen here. It's touchscreen, but not all of it is touchscreen. I do believe it tilts a little bit here as well, so you can see up, and then it tilts that way as well. Almost horizontal, almost 90 degrees. So that's pretty good. It doesn't flip out, so you can't see yourself on the screen, so it's not great for vlogging, but I'm not really going to be using this for vlogging. So, lenses. What am I going to be doing for lenses? Now, let me just get rid of this, hold on. I was going to use all of my Canon gear to fit onto this Sony camera using something called a Metabones adapter or the Sigma MC11 adapter. Basically what that adapter means is that you get that, you put it on a Sony camera, and it means that you can use all your existing Canon gear and Canon lenses on that camera. On paper, that sounds great, but after doing some tests and stuff in local camera shops and using those compared to, say, the native Sony lenses, I found that a lot of the Canon gear, although it was nice and sharp and focused and the end result looked good, focusing in the first place was a little bit hesitant. It would hunt backwards and forwards. It would try and find that focus point a lot more than the native Sony lenses or the Sony equivalents. So I had to make a huge decision, and it wasn't easy for me. I've built up my Canon gear over many years, and it was a bit of a pain to see them go. But to be honest, I've now switched fully into the Sony market, and not only have I got this A7AR3, I went ahead and bought myself 2 lenses to go with it. So I'll also be unboxing the 2 lenses. First lens, this baby here. This is the Sony FE24 to 70mm f2.8. This is the GM, the G Master. And this is the G Master lenses of Sony are kind of the creme de la creme. Coming from Canon's 2.8L series lens, I needed to make sure that I was getting the sharpest quality images, because those lenses are phenomenal. Lens hood comes with it, which is always nice to have. Instruction manual, again, Japanese, English, German, French, Spanish, Hindi, pretty much every language under the sun. This is the 24 to 70. Now, in terms of first thing I feel is the weight. Yes, it's got some heft to it. Whether that will be heavier over time in my bag than the Canon equivalent, I don't know. I have to look at the specs and see what the difference is between the two. What I do like about this lens is there's a couple of things. The extender, I don't like this really, where it extends out. This, compared to the Canon, everything is done internally, so when you rotate the zoom, it's all done internally. What I do like is the fact that you can turn it and it doesn't fall down at all. It just holds in place, which is a sign of good quality. The focus ring on the end though, it's so smooth, really smooth. And it also has a little button on the side here, so if you can see that one, focus, there we go. That little button I believe is programmable. If it's not programmable, it does autofocus or eye autofocus. So that's the 24 to 70 f2.8 FE. The other lens I got was this one, which is the 70 to 200 f2.8 GM. So the G Master. This one actually has OSS, the stabilization built in. So again, this is the camera. I'll get a little strap with it here. Some more instructions. But we don't care about instructions. I mean, this is a beast. This is actually pretty heavy, to be honest. Lens hood on the top, and this lens hood is white to match the casing of the lens itself. Now, I've seen this lens before. What I don't understand is this little door thing. You see that? Now, if any of you know what this door thing is for, Obviously when you put it on, I was guessing that it's probably maybe a filter, that you can rotate filters inside. I don't know, that's my wild guess. Without looking it up, I'm not sure. If you do have any ideas, please comment below and let me know what that could be for. This particular lens has various different modes and buttons on the side. It has the autofocus mode. There we go. So it's got autofocus mode. It's got the focus distance. So from full, it focuses from 30 centimeters to infinity. Stabilization modes 1 and 2, and stabilization on and off. It also has 3 buttons. So again, whether they're programmable, I'm not sure. And the beauty about this little lens is, yes, you can put a tripod on it for extra stability, but what this can do is you can just rotate this and then slip this straight off. So this can actually then go straight on to a tripod if you've got the mount like that. So you don't even need this. Great design. All right, so I haven't even powered the camera up yet, and that is what I'm going to do. Now, first things first, my first initial impressions of the camera from coming over from Canon. Yeah, it feels premium. It feels like I can get used to this. As I place my thumb right here, it's naturally sitting right on a scroll wheel here. My other finger over the top is obviously naturally placed on the shutter release button, and then I've also got another scroll wheel at the front as well. Looking at the top, you've got the C1, C2, which are custom buttons, custom 1, custom 2. This is the exposure compensation. So if it's a little bit underexposed or overexposed, you can use that there. You've also got your dials, obviously. So P for program, A for aperture priority, S for shutter priority, M for manual, 1, 2 and 3, which are custom modes, and you've got movie mode, auto mode, and S and Q. Got to try and remember what S and Q stands for. Slow and quick. Slow and quick. I don't know why they didn't just call it slow and fast, or fast and slow, or something else altogether, but that brings me on to something that was kind of putting me off a little bit over some time about the Sony system. Everyone was saying that the menu system and the acronyms and the names of everything in the menus were sometimes enough to even just put you off. Trying to find something in the menu system is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. That doesn't really bother me too much. I've looked through the menu systems. I've actually looked through all the online video guides as well to take you right through every single page. Yes, it took a long time, and yes, most of it was quite boring, but it did tell me everything about this camera. So I know what to expect, and I know the sort of things I'm getting myself into. You've got the screen at the back here, you've got a scroll wheel, button in the middle, playback button, your delete button, function button, a little joystick here, record button, autofocus on, AEL button, which you can program as well. In fact, most of these you can just program to do anything you want. You've got another custom programmable button there, and then the menu button. Looking on to the side, the little doors, you have a headphone jack and a mini or micro HDMI. I don't know if that's micro HDMI. I think it is. Really small. Almost looks like a USB, a micro USB cable, to be honest. A USB-C, and you have a multi-port here. Now, another reason why I wanted to go into this, as I mentioned before about the charger, you can charge this camera via USB-C. Now, so what? You can charge most things via USB-C or USB altogether. But charging via USB is a game changer actually for me, because let's just say you're doing a time lapse and you've got just one battery on you at that time. You don't want to swap that battery in between the time lapse, which means you can keep it on charge as it's doing a time lapse or really long exposures or something with enough battery and everything it's charging to spare, so you don't have to worry about that. Genius. Or even videoing, which can take up a bit of battery. On the bottom you've got the standard tripod mount, and under here you've got battery doors. It's a good job I didn't try and turn this on. It's got a battery in it. I hope it came with a battery. Oh crikey, hang on. Battery! Okay. Let's fire this up, shall we? So battery, I'm going to put the battery in. Make sure it goes in the right way. All right, so you guys watching me on YouTube right now are going to watch the first time that this particular camera is ever starting up in my hands, ready for the future. Let's give it a go. Is the battery dead? No. Okay, that's a good sign. We've got a menu. All right, I am English, and the date. Enough camera. So I want to tell you about the reasons why I've switched from Canon to Sony. Canon's been doing me well, as I say, for the past 18 years. But I think times are starting to shift in a direction where technology is progressing. DSLRs are still quite chunky, they're heavy. And whenever I've got my bag, if I'm going on a landscape shoot or if I'm going away for a long weekend somewhere, I've got everything in my bag. I tend to pack everything because it's always nice to get to a place and have it, even though you don't want to use it, than getting somewhere and wishing you packed it, if that makes sense. The reason why I've gone for this particular camera is there are certain features that I was looking for in my next camera. Okay, 4K video. The 6D Mark II unfortunately does not do 4K video. It's a great camera, but it doesn't do that. Dual memory card slots, something that if you're doing weddings you need to have. I tend to have 2 cameras on me all the time with weddings, and having that extra memory card slot means that I could be backing up on the go. So every photo I take backs up to the second card slot. So that was priority number 2. I wasn't really a priority, but a feature that I was interested in was the electronic viewfinder, the EVF. Reason being is that the electronic viewfinder can show you everything in live view. So it's like looking at the back of the screen, but it's more than that. You can even change the aperture and it will show you your depth of field in live real time, basically. With DSLRs, you can't do that. The only thing you can do with DSLRs is usually press a little button, which is usually located at the bottom of the camera down here, which is your depth of field button. Have a look at your camera, you may have one down there. When you press that, what that does is that it closes the aperture at the end of the lens, opens and closes it to show you what the depth of field would be or how much light will be reduced when you take that photo. With an EVF, it's showing you exactly how that photo will look as soon as you press that button. You almost kind of don't have a light meter at the bottom of the screen anymore. There's no real need, because you can see everything, if it's going to be overexposed or underexposed via the screen itself. That is actually a really nice feature, and I can't wait to get out in the field to actually test this and put it to a test, and obviously I will do a vlog on that as well. I'm starting to print larger images now, and some of the images are going out to clients and some are starting to ask for larger and larger prints. Now this particular camera is, I believe, 42 megapixel camera. It's almost double what I had before, which means the detail is extraordinary. You can zoom right in and still pull a lot of that detail out in some of the shots. That's really important, especially if, I don't suggest this for everyone, but especially if you want to actually crop any of their images in, which means zooming in and taking out some of the bits that you don't want. Now, the lower the megapixels, the less amount of cropping you can do, because you're basically almost halving the size of the image if you crop in half, basically. So you'll lose the resolution. 42 megapixels, I don't know how big these files are in terms of dimensions, but I can imagine they're pretty big. I think the 6D Mark II was something like 5,500 by 3,800 or something like that. So I can imagine these are quite large files. We'll soon see. One thing I do need to get is memory cards that will keep up with the buffer speeds that this takes. It takes 10 frames per second, and it can also shoot silently. Another feature which I wanted. Silent shooting is crucial if you are going into an area where you can't make noise. For instance, if you are shooting a wedding and there is a particular time throughout that wedding where the registrar is marrying the couple that they want absolute silence, and sometimes that may be the case. So you don't want flashes going off, you don't want noise and things going off from cameras. So silent shooting is a really nice little feature to have. I think there's many other features But when I first started seeing this, I was comparing almost apples to oranges, Canon to Sony. They're two totally different things. But I think I've made a good decision here. Yeah, that's about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, a little bit of a like. Please feel free to comment. I know some of you email me for questions, and afterwards, if you like the video, you tend to email me. Please comment below. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid to be the first one to comment, and I will always reply to comments. Even you, Ben. You know who you are. So, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon. Be sure to subscribe if you like the video. Follow me on my Facebook and Instagram for updates. Take care, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.